I just talked about technically 8 books, but realistically, it's only like 3. Hello besties, it's girl, welcome back to my channel. So today's video, I'm going to be talking about 24 books that I want to read in 2024. These are 24 books that I think are going to be on like my higher priority for 2024. At the beginning of series, some of these are new releases, some of these are books at the end of the series that I haven't quite got to that book yet. So there is definitely a lot more than 24 books. I'm just gonna put the end of some series that I already have and I know that I want to read. Make sure to follow all my socials down below, along with my Goodreads, Amazon wishlist. All that stuff is linked down below if you want to check it out. Like, comment, and subscribe for more videos by me. And let's get right into it. I'm just gonna start off with a lot of books by the same author. I'm hoping to just get caught up on all of her series. Sarah J. Maas, all I have to say. I'm only gonna count the last book in these series, or the most recent one that's out, as one book instead of adding them all. I'm gonna start off with ACOTAR. Believe it or not, I am not finished with ACOTAR series. Court of Frost and Starlight. I know I want to read this soon, either this month or January. The big boy that I'm talking about is I want to read this chunker, A Court of Silver Flames, in 2024, just to wrap up whatever is out of the ACOTAR series. All I know, because I don't want to read the back, is Nessa and Cassian's book. I'm sorry if I just spoiled that if you've not read ACOTAR. It's their romance story, possibly. I don't know what's going to be talked about for this gosh darn long. Nesta honestly isn't my favorite character, and a lot of people felt the same way, but like, I don't dislike her that much not to read her book. Cassian's also not my favorite bad boy. He's my 3rd favorite bad boy. All in all, I want to finish the ACOTAR series. I'm also in the middle of the Throne of Glass series. I hope to get to Kingdom of Ash. It's like 900 pages, guys. 900 pages. I still have to read 3 more books in this series before I even get to this. Even think about reading this. I still have to read Queen of Shadows, which is my next read in the series, not like the next one I'm picking up. And then the tandem read, which is Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn. I am going to tandem read them, guys. I've never tandem read in my life, but I'm gonna give it a try. I'm like extremely scared for this book because everybody just goes through every single emotion. A lot can literally happen. King of Ash is on my TBR for 2024. So guys, hype me up, make me get to this. And lastly, for Sarah J. Maas, which I have 3 more. I want to start another Sarah J. Maas series till I'm done with those 2. But I have both Crescent City books on here, and Crescent City 3 is coming out in January. In order to get to Crescent City 3, I want to read these 2. I'm just hoping to be caught up on all of Sarah J. Maas's books by the end of 2024. Crescent City 3 on my 2024 TBR. That's my spiel about all the Sarah J. Maas books I want to read. Hopefully I get to them. So you thought it'd be like, okay, Keira, what's your next just simple 1 book that you're gonna read? I don't have one. I have another series that I have to read. So I have pretty much every single Harry Potter book but the first one, because I did read the first one already, but it's technically only gonna be the 7th one because I want to finish the whole entire Harry Potter series. Everybody loves the series. My friends love this series. And I want to finish it. I don't want to put it off for like a couple years, nothing like that. I just want to finish it. So I'm putting the 7th one on my TBR so that it motivates me to read 5 of the other ones I haven't read to get to this bad boy. We have our first little book that is not me reading a ton of other books before I get to it. I want to get to Daydream by Hannah Grace. This is the 3rd book in the Maple Hills series that she has going on. College hockey team, I think it is what it's centering around. She just put June, I think, as the release date. It might come earlier, might come later. This is Henry's romance story, which I've been waiting for. I'm just like so freaking excited. This cover is so adorable. Like, I love the cover. Yeah, I don't know what this is about. I think this has to do with some kind of tutoring situation. I could be completely wrong. I'm so excited. This next book is also a new release. It's for the Summer by Abby Jimenez, which, if you don't know me, Abby Jimenez is one of my favorite authors. I still have to read 2 of her books, but I would definitely be reading those. They are my 2024 TBR. I won't put them in this video, but definitely be reading those 2 before I get to this new book, which I knew she was coming out with it, but I didn't realize that like the cover and the synopsis and all that stuff was already out. This cover is so cute. I'm guessing it's coming around the summertime, but if I remember correctly, I think this one guy, every time he breaks up with a girl, they like apparently find their soulmate. And I don't know how the girl main character comes into this situation, but they agree to date and then break up, hoping that it will help them find their soulmates after that. And then obviously with Abby Jimenez books, there's just a lot of different other things, emotional factors that come into it. It seems like something that's just so different, and I will read anything Abby Jimenez writes. If you did not know, she's coming out with this book. So put it on your radar for 2024. Next up is one of those situations where I have other books either in the series or by this author that I want to finish before I get to this one. At this current moment, I still have Reckless and Hopeless to read. I want to finish the Chestnut Springs series before I go back and read her other series, which you'll see in a second. Those are on my 2024 TBR, but I know I'll finish those. So I'm just going to put her other series on my TBR because I want to definitely start it, maybe finish it. I want to start her older series, which takes place in the same universe as the Chestnut Springs. Off to the races. So I think this is the Golden Rush or Golden Ranch series. I just can't get enough of her cowboy romances. I will definitely be reading it. So yes, by doing that, I'm just going to put the first book on the TBR, not like the other ones where I'm putting the last book. I'm just going to put the first book in the series. There's just so much to read, guys, in 2024. I'm very, very excited about everything I'm going to read. Next up, you might be very surprised that I have not actually gotten around to reading this yet. Flame by Rebecca Yarros is going on my 2024 TBR. The only reason I have not read this yet is because I hate when series that are just not fully out yet and there's no plans or anything for the next book. Because if a book leaves off on a cliffhanger, I just physically cannot wait till Miss Rebecca announces that she's either writing the 3rd book in this series or anything that is like, this is coming soon, I will pick this up. I just cannot wait too long for another book in this series. But if you have not read 4th Wing, where have you been? Because you need to read it. Oh my god, I'm so scared. I'm so scared. These next 3 books that I'm going to talk about have been on my TBR for going on 2 years in 2024. So I am putting them on here because I have to read them. I have to. First one, which you guys would be like, Keira, come on. And it's Punk 57 by Penelope Douglas. Okay, this, when I was getting back into my book journey, I saw quotes about this on TikTok, and I was like, oh, reading sounds fun. I just think it's because I've heard of some kind of like bullying trope, and I hate the bullying trope. But like the other concepts of them being like pen pals and not knowing it and hating each other in real life, it's kind of a fun concept. So I don't know why I just haven't picked this up and read it. It's like really short too. I'm gonna read it in 2024. It's on TBR. 24 books I want to read in 2024. Read it, read it, read it. The next one is also one that I think I'm going to love. I just don't know why I'm not picking it up. Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker. I have just had this book on my TBR for way too long. And it's just, synopsis is just so up my alley of just like enemies to lovers, small town vibes. and it just like, just don't reach for it. Reference back this video when I'm like, I don't know what to read. Keira, have you read this yet? No? Oh, then read it. And last but not least, which is kind of, I wouldn't say the same, Simple Wild, but it's like similar. All Roads Lead Here by Maria Sabana. I said I'll read it in the fall. Obviously I didn't read it in the fall, guys. 2024 is the year. Again, right up my alley. I think it's like Grubby, Sunshine, Slow Burn, Single Dad, I believe. I've heard a lot of people really love this book. I don't mind Maria Sabata's writing. I don't think I've ever rated something like above 4 stars, which 4 stars is good. Sometimes hers is just way too slow burn for me. I feel like out of all of these 3 are definitely like high priority. All right, this next book, I'm only putting the first one on because why would I put the second one on if I haven't read the first one? Everybody and their mother has probably read this book. I know that the second book might have already came out or is coming out at some point in December, and it's Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. So this, I know, is like a kind of like magical, historical fantasy, and I heard it's just so beautiful. I know like the general idea that they're like 2 rivals journalists, I think, and there's some kind of war going on and a romance. And I really am intrigued to see personally how I feel about it. So yeah, Divine Rivals, guys, is going on the TBR for 2024. And another popular fantasy book that I am probably the last person to read is Powerless by Lauren Roberts. This apparently is young adult fantasy. There's 2 types of people, the elites and the ordinaries, and the elites powers and the ordinaries don't, and they've been just like killing the ordinaries off. There's this girl who has been training like her whole life, like seem like she's an elite, and she like enters this competition. Somehow the guy comes in. I know Sarah Crowley loves this book to death, and I think it'll just be like a fun time. Hope I like it. These next 2 books are fantasy books again, but they're actually recommendations from, I think it's Raven-Haired Reader here on BookTube. I will put a picture of her channel. She's like a fantasy romance reader, and I get a lot of my fantasy romance books from her. This first one, I've actually already read the 2 prequel novellas that go with this series. There's no announcement for when the second book is coming out, so that's why I've kind of put it off for this long. The Crown of Oaths and Curses by J. Bree. I want to read it so badly because it's Fated Mates. Love Fated Mates so much, and this series has it. Obviously the 2 main characters are Fated Mates. She described it as real enemies to lovers. Like, they completely hate each other, apparently for like this whole first book. And I was like, oh yeah. I think he's like a fae king, and lands are like not doing so well, and she's a witch. Both sides really hate each other. I really loved the 2 prequel novellas that I read. And then another recommendation by Rachel is Fear the Flames. So I don't really remember what this one was even about, but I know she really loves the romance, so that's why I put it on here. I think the cover is really cool, and if she says it's good, then I will probably give it a chance. This next book is another fantasy book, part of a very big universe. Everybody and their mother has probably read this series, or heard of this series at least. City of Bones. This is part of the, I think it's the Shadowhunters universe, but like this is specifically the Mortal Instruments series. I could be completely wrong. All I know is that there are just a million books. I really don't know too much about this whole entire universe, or even just this specific series in general, other than I think it's just like modern day fantasy. I think it takes place in New York. Apparently Cassandra Clare has just made the best love triangle of all time, which I hate love triangles, but I'm still gonna give it a chance because so many people like it. So I definitely want to start getting into this universe next year. This next book is not really romance or fantasy. I don't know really what it's considered. The first book to this I guess, duology was The Way I Used to Be by Amber Smith, I believe. That might be the wrong author. That book, if you don't know, is just like so heartbreaking. The second book I know came out last month in November, and it's called The Way I Am Now. And I'm just like fingers crossed that it's just like happy. And this poor girl just gets like a happy ending. I don't know if there's any romance in this, but I hope she ends up with the one guy that I just know is meant for her. I need some closure, honestly, after reading that book. And the next book, I'm like so freaking excited. I've been waiting. It'll be like 2 years since I first read this book. But if you didn't know, Painter is coming out with another book, nothing like the movies. And if you're like, oh, why does that sound familiar? I think it's a sequel or like a continuation type thing of Better Than the Movies, and it's from Wes's point of view. Guys, we did it. I think we're gonna get Wes's point of view. I think it takes place while they're in college. Nothing like the movies. I am so excited. Next up, we have another fantasy. I've read one entire series by this author, and she now has a new series that she's coming out with books. I don't know if another one is going to come out in 2024, but I know there's 2 so far in this series, and it is Tahara Mafi. So she's the same author as the Shatter Me series, which if you have not read that series, I definitely recommend. This is, I think, another either fantasy or dystopian series. The girl is like a servant or something. This guy is the crown prince, and I'm sure they'd strike up a romance somehow. I don't know how long this series is going to be. I miss Tahara Mafi's writing style so much. It's like a little poetic, really easy to get through because it's like YA. I haven't heard much about this series. I cannot wait to dive into another Tahara Mafi world. Another book, another series that I want to read in 2024. This one is King of Wrath by Anna Huang. This is book 1 of 7 in her Kings of Sin series. I've read, obviously, the Twisted series. Like, 2 of like my all-time favorite books come from the Twisted series. I've heard pretty good things about every single one of these books that comes out. This is just the first one, King of Wrath. I know this is like a marriage of convenience with some kind of blackmailing situation in it. And billionaire, because of course it's Anna Huang. She's gonna write a billionaire romance book. Her books are just so easy to get through, so entertaining. Hopefully I like this series enough to keep going with it. It's gonna be 7 books, so yeah. Whenever I'm feeling just a little bit of a crazy twisted romance, I have plenty to read by her. This book, like some other books, is technically part of like a whole big universe series thing. I only have one more book I need to read before I get to this one, but I'm just gonna put this one on here because it's the one I'm most excited to get to. It is Hot House Flower by Krista and Becca Ritchie. So I still have to read Kiss the Sky before I read this book, which is technically the Calloway Sisters series, but it's part of the Addicted World. I'm reading them the interconnected way. I love to like read the whole entire Addicted Calloway Sisters series universe books and finish all like, I don't know, 10 of them in 2024. Ideally, yes, but to be realistic, I really, really, really want to get to Hot House Flower the most because I just love Reich and Daisy. I don't know what it is about them. Reich has some relation to Mo from the Addicted series, and then Daisy is the sister of Lily from the Addicted series, and this is their romance story. So she is like a model. I forget what he does. I think he writes or something. It's age gap. Like, it's gonna be so good. I already know that they're gonna be my favorite couple. I don't love Lily and Lo. And then Rose and Connor, it like depends. High priority for 2024. Another book I do not have a physical copy for, but I want to talk about is Daughter of No World by Carissa Broadbent. So I still have The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King by Carissa Broadbent in the Crowns of Nyaxia series that I have to read before I want to go back and then read this series. I just like really love Carissa Broadbent's writing style. The premise of the Daughter of No World series is just really interesting to me Do I really remember what it's about? No. But obviously, I read the synopsis and I really loved what it sounded like it was. So, there are no worlds on my TBR. It's a common theme by now, you should know. If I have a certain book, I obviously am probably gonna have like another series or a few other books I need to finish before I get to this one. The Graham Effect by Elle Kennedy. I still have to read 3 more books in the Briar U series before I want to get to this one. First book in her latest series. I don't even know what it's called. This is about Hannah and Garrett Graham's children. At least this book is. It's about their daughter. If you don't know, they're like my favorite. I love Hannah and Garrett so much. I love the deal. And now I have a book about their children. You're kidding. I've just heard nothing but good things about this book. And I'm so glad. And I'm so excited. Gigi Graham. And I think they're both hockey players. So she's a hockey player and he's a hockey player. That's all I know. I heard it's good. I think it's spicy. It's long. It's just like everything I love. And I love Elle Kennedy's writing. Is it like the best things ever written? No, not necessarily. They're kind of trashy. They're fun. They're spicy. They're just good times. I could cry. I could cry, guys. And the last book for this video is One Dark Window by Rachel Gilling. I tried to read this in November, and to be honest, I was in a reading slump. So I just like couldn't pick up a fantasy at that time. So I put it down. It wasn't technically a DNF because I really only got like 20, 30 pages in. And just the concept of this book is so interesting. It's like verse has this kind of like curse that like makes people sick, I think. She wants to like collect all these cards. Apparently if you get all these cards together, it breaks the sickness, curse, whatever it is. She has like this nightmare in her head. The romance in here, I heard it's very gothic, like eerie vibes. It's like a little confusing. I'm just like, I'm so intrigued. I'm so very intrigued. Just heard like nothing but good things about this book. Woohoo! Last book, baby. Was this very much a lot more than 24 books? Yes. I feel like 2024 could possibly be like a really good reading year for just everything that's getting released, just all the things I want to get to. Fingers crossed I have the time. If you guys enjoyed, hopefully you maybe found some new books that you want to get to in 2024. Be sure to subscribe down below to stick around. Give her a like, comment maybe some books you're really excited to get to in 2024. Be sure to follow all my socials down below. Link my Goodreads if you want to be friends with me on there. My Amazon wishlist is always linked down there if you want to check that out. A lot of other things. They'll be in the description. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!